The current climate of USU soccer is a game of supply and demand. But what does that actually mean? I'm going to break it down more in this video. Now, who am I? Kyle C. Wilson. Kyle Wilson, the angry soccer guy. I have been in the U soccer game for 10 years, working with children as young as 2 years old when I worked for Soccer Shots, up to professional players and everything in between. So some professionals I've worked with include Luis Nani, Benji Michel, Ruan Teixeira, Tesho Akindele, Dom Dwyer, and I've even worked with the generational talent, probably the biggest talent coming out of Brazil right now, who has a $3.5 million contract with Nike, named Kawan Basil. Now, what am I talking about when I say a supply and demand effect here with the current climate of USU soccer? Great question, and we're going to answer that right now. So we have the supply, we have the demand. The demand is brought by the parents. So the demand is parents who are paying for a service or product. So this case would be the service of USU soccer, the product being, say, the leagues. Now, the demand is created or built around parents that unfortunately are uneducated. So hopefully you're watching my content to kind of level up and realize the bigger picture. Because what happens is the supply and demand curve right now, based on USU soccer, is focused on the short term, not the long term. And if we can kind of flip that pyramid so we kind of move away from the short term to long term thinking, that's when we're going to see better players being produced, more kids playing soccer, and at the end of the day, give us even a remote chance at winning a FIFA Men's World Cup. Obviously, the women is a separate category. We can talk about that later. Now, let me finalize the demand part here. Demand is created by parents. Parents thinking short term. Parents that just want to win on a Saturday or a Sunday at their kids' local game, like a league game, or go to a tournament to go trophy hunt. So the idea is, they don't necessarily care about how they play. They want to focus on winning at all costs because they associate winning with development, which we know is not necessarily true. And then they trophy hunt. They want little Johnny to win the $3 or $5 medal when they go to Kyle's Super Copa. Okay? And it doesn't matter the division because they have multiple levels of categories of divisions. And that's kind of the demand, the portion. So then what clubs realized was the supply. They've gone, okay, all we have to just do is supply the bare minimum to make sure that parents are happy. Well, what is the bare minimum? The bare minimum is going to be results. If they win and they get those trophies, the overwhelming majority of parents that don't know enough about the game to understand how development, how the team should play, how they should be progressing, just care about the win. So provide that. Deliver on what parents want. Win the supply. Bring the supply of winning. Showcase that players are going to these events, they're playing, they're winning these leagues, and then we can talk about giving the demand. So if we can change the demand, we can change the way parents view the game and rotate from the short term to long-term thinking, then we're going to start seeing better players and a better experience for children, more kids playing, and then again, maybe give us that chance in the long term of winning a FIFA Men's World Cup. Now, because really what it is clubs are providing a temporary happy. Because parents want to see their child win. Like I talked to a parent and they told me like, Kyle, when we go to tournaments with our kids, we want to see them win. And I go, I want to see them win too, but I want to see them winning, one, by earning it, two, by playing a good style of ball, not just kicking and running and sending the ball downfield. I want to focus on doing what the kids need to do to play good football. At least that's what I call good football. Now, if the demand's not there, then that's why the current climate exists this way. This is why you keep seeing more leagues pop up. So like you have MLS Next 2 now, or NIL, whatever they call it. You have GA, ECNL, DPL, you have EDP, and then EDP has 7 divisions in their category, right? And I just gave you 8 leagues at the top of my head. There's plenty more. Like just in Florida alone, there's like 28 youth leagues for competitive. It's kind of bonkers. But those are things that like I don't think a lot of people are aware of when it comes to factual evidence of what's happening, and it's because of the uneducated parents. So I'm glad that you're kind of reviewing this content because it should help you think differently when it comes to supply and demand. So if you ever seen a kid on the field and you go, who is this kid and how did he or she become this good? It's like, okay, well, they must be doing something different. More than likely, they either have a parent that knows or they found a coach. Or if they're real lucky, they have both. They have a parent that knows what to look for and they have a coach that knows what they're doing. And they care about developing their child for the future, not just for Saturday. And you know what type of kid I'm talking about. That one kid that's kind of like a standout. They're technically the best player. They can maybe dribble the whole team, but they can also make exceptional passes. Those are the types of players that you can tell at a young age have spent hours upon hours with the ball and also are different than other children because they're almost light years ahead of them because of their skill set. So those are things that I think people, need to evaluate. And this is where the whole supply and demand comes into effect. So with the right ideas, the right momentum, we can swing this pyramid to stop thinking short term to think long term. Now, just to kind of summarize this for you, from a long term perspective, if every team played a similar style of football, and I'm talking 6 to 12 years old, where the ball is on the floor, players are playing a variety of positions, coaches are not screaming on the top of their lungs to kick it, boot it, or send it, that would be a start of the pyramid shift. But that has to come from parents. It's so important because you are the demand. What you want as a parent is what can change the total environment, because without your demand, there wouldn't be a supply. That's why development is not in demand. Winning at all cost and trophy hunting is in demand.